Hey guys, welcome back to the Emlyn in the Mix podcast. What an exciting week it's been, actually, with some very awesome, massive announcements. I've got a really exciting podcast for you guys this week. I know I say that every week, but I swear that it just keeps getting better week to week as we trail towards the end of the year. It is episode 34 for season 2 on Emlyn in the Mix. Welcome back to all of the regular listeners, and hello to the new listeners of this podcast. If you haven't listened to this podcast before, we essentially cover audio and music technology for your studio needs, hardware and software wise. Today's podcast, though, is looking more towards the software side of things, but there is some pretty incredible stuff to cover, and I'm super excited to get stuck straight into it with you. I'm just going to get stuck straight into it, of course, and let's get moving along because there's a lot to cover here on the podcast today. So actually, if you're watching, I'm recording this on video as well. So if you're watching on the video, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, that is available over on Emlyn in the Mix on YouTube. And if you want to see a lot of videos on what we cover on the podcast, we mostly do videos over on Emlyn in the Mix YouTube channel as well. But yeah, let's get stuck straight into it. So our first piece of news here comes to us from Antares. They are no stranger to this podcast. In fact, we just mentioned a new product from them last week, which was for the iPhone, which is a key finder, which is really cool. It's a free app. So check out that podcast if you haven't already, but I'm going to speak about it right now anyway, because it has something to do with this piece of software. So this is Auto-Tune Vocodist. So the human voice synthesized. So immediately recognizable, always unforgettable, produced the unmistakable effect made famous on Dance Floor Bangers by Daft Punk, Electro Pioneers Kraftwerk, 70s rock classics by ELO, and many more. That is a bold statement. I know we already have, maybe not a plethora, but there is quite a bit of software out there that emulates that vocoder-y sort of sound. But being that this is Auto-Tune and from the, parent company of Auto-Tune, Antares, this, I dare say, is going to be pretty good. I previewed this before the podcast. Sounds pretty good. I'm going to give you some examples in a moment. So Auto-Tune Vocodist delivers the legendary sound of vintage vocoders with the full force and flexibility of Auto-Tune built in. That is the key feature right there. Let's have a quick listen here. So we've got our first little sample here is Robo Funk. No guessing where this is getting its influence from. Let's have a listen. All right, nice little example. Let's listen to our next one here in the trap. All right, so again, popular hip-hop style music at the moment, trap music. Next one, Chords All Night. Let's have a listen to this guy here. I didn't mind that, actually. That was a pretty nice sounding preset. Using the chords, obviously, playing, whether you can play keys with it, I'm pretty sure you can because it does have a keyboard on the piece of software there. Let's just play one more. Industrial Aggression. I'm guessing this is sort of like your Slipknot or your metal rap or heavier metal. Let's have a listen to this. Yeah, I'm not sure what I think of that last example. Although I have to say, probably biased here, not really knowing much about that genre. So maybe it is being used in that genre quite a lot in metal or industrial metal, darker music, that sort of stuff. All right, cool. Let's have a quick overview here. So create like the legends. This advanced vocoder plugin includes models of all of the classic vocoders you know and love. Plus, we built in an exclusive collection of artists presets featuring P Thug, Chromeo, producer Buddy Ross. That's pretty cool, actually. Chromeo are pretty well known for loving their vocoders. There's some great videos online with P Thug actually using that tube thing you put in your mouth, and it sounds amazing. Producer Buddy Ross, Frank Ocean, electronic artist Rachel K. Collier. I love Rachel K. Collier. She's really cool. Check her out on YouTube if you haven't already, and more to jumpstart your creativity. So this is really cool. All right, let's go over some of the features here on this piece of software. So easy to use and built for speed. Auto-tune Vocodist lets you control the pitch of your vocoded sound with your voice or your favorite MIDI keyboard. There you go. Boom, I was right. Designed for ease of use, a built-in 8-voice dual oscillator synthesizer helps you start vocoding quickly and easily, or use any external audio source via sidechain input and explore. That sounds pretty cool. Push it to the limit, customize the classic sound even further with built-in vocal effects, explore otherworldly enhancements with classic analog tube saturation, lush choruses, and ring modulation for extreme vocal mutations. And then Auto-Tune is under the hood, of course. As the world's only vocoder plugin with Auto-Tune built in, you can tune your vocals without ever leaving Vocodist. Dial it in for subtle results or crank it up to combine the iconic Auto-Tune effect with vocoder vibes to create your own unique sound. This is the part I wanted to mention down here that had to do with the podcast last week. We mentioned the AutoKey app, which is a free app you can download. I freaking love it. It's unreal for finding out the keys of songs that maybe you want to learn how to play, or if you want to do a remix, it's perfect. So single click key and scale. So Auto-Tune Vocodist is fully compatible with AutoKey and AutoKey Mobile. So you can save valuable time in the studio by instantly detecting the key and scale of your music and sending it to Vocodist with one single click. That's nice. I mean, they just announced AutoKey last week, and now they're announcing this new piece of software, and the fact that they're compatible together is a nice little touch. Well done to the creators of Auto-Tune with coming up with new innovative software. I know there isn't heaps of these on the market, but this definitely may be worth checking out. There is a free, I believe, 14-day trial here. Why not give it a go? I mean, this seems to be everywhere. This robotic vocoderish sound on voices pretty much in every single pop track. I am not excused from using this sound myself in my own music. I do like the electronic sound. I do like the vocal. The voice is an instrument, and it can be fun when you can utilize it in creative ways. I guess I just don't like the overused Auto-Tune sound, which most people don't like. But if you can do it in a new and in creative sort of sound, that's when it's cool, I believe. So yeah, worth checking out if that's what your thing. And yeah, well done, Auto-Tune Vocodist. All right, let's jump across to our next piece of news here. This is super exciting. So this comes to us from Roland, and they've just announced the release of the TR707 and the TR727 in software form. Now, if you're watching on the video, you'll be able to see nice big pictures here rolling across the top of the screen, beautiful 3D models here. So what are the TR707 and TR727? Well, it's a dynamic digital duo. So in 1985, Roland released the now famous TR707 and TR727 rhythm composers, taking their rightful places next to other classic Roland rhythm machines. And this dynamic duo of drums and percussion has appeared on hit tracks in a long list of genres including synth pop, acid house, industrial, electro, indie, alternative, and more. And thanks to our analog circuit behavior, ACB as they're calling it technology, you can now have the authentic sound and experience of these influential drum machines right inside your door with modern upgrades that take them into all new territory. So this is freaking exciting. I think we have a little video here, although that video is about 15 minutes long, so we're not going to play that here on the podcast. I'm just going to read a little bit more about it, and hopefully we've got some audio demos down here below. So digital transition. So before the TR707 and TR727, Roland released the now legendary TR909. Now TR909 we've heard on multiple house, dance tracks, R&B, hip-hop tracks. It's everywhere, that TR909 sound. Even your grandma knows what that sound sounds like. So which was developed as an analog digital hybrid rather than a fully digital device. And memory chips and digital to analog converters were costly at the time, so there was a concern that an all digital design would make the product unaffordable for many musicians and would have limited sound shaping options for those who wanted to do that. So however, after the TR909's release, Roland embraced the trend towards digital technology with a pair of rhythm machines that combined sampled sounds with the user-friendly TR interface, and newly enhanced with the hands-on immediacy of individual faders, and hence comes along the TR707. So yeah, if you're watching here in the video, you can see it. Now, orange, blue are both. So the new digital TR machines were highly anticipated when they hit the market. The TR707 with its orange livery and the most advanced pattern sequencing capabilities yet, and included 15 punchy drum sounds covering all the basics from kick and snare to toms and cymbals in, and its sibling, the blue highlighted TR727, was an all-out percussion powerhouse with 15 Latin-inspired sounds that could take any groove to new heights. Each unit was formidable on its own, but together they were unstoppable. Okay, obviously I'm reading it right here from the website, and it goes on to talk about the vintage authenticity of the analog circuitry, which has been emulated in this software form. You know it's going to sound good. Here we go. We've got the little sound demos here. TR707, TR727 software rhythm composers. Here is a pop demo for you. I think it is here. We'll click on this one here. Let's have a quick listen to this pop demo incorporating this software. Now, I have to say, I'm stopping the demo there. I love it. The sound is very analog, very crunchy, and has a very unique, very well emulated sound, actually. Very impressive. Let's listen to Acid House demo here. Here we go. I think you get the idea on that one as well, and it has a very classic sounding hi-hats and percussion. I'm really loving the sound of this. We'll do one more here. I want to check out this high energy demo here. Let's have a listen to this high energy demo. All right. Wow, that actually sounds really 80s. I was expecting it to be like hardcore techno on that demo. But anyway, you do, in those demos, very well done, showcasing that rhythm composing and the sound emulation that they've done. Roland, well done. Very good vintage sounding emulation of this hardware into software form, and it's now available. If you're a Roland Cloud user, you can, I believe it should be a part of your collection if you are subscribed to that. I know more and more producers are subscribing to this Roland Cloud. It seems to be becoming a better and better deal. Fantastic indeed. Check it out. Roland TR707 and 727 in software form. Super exciting indeed. All right, let's move along to our next piece of news here. It comes to us from our friends Roli, who are also not very shy to come on the podcast. And they have just announced their new sound pack, and it's called EDM Attack Sound Pack. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. All right, let's have a quick listen to this. It's a very quick demo. Have a listen to these sounds. Pulsing basses, searing leads, uplifting pads, and pulsing. Yeah, just a nice quick example of the sounds that are going to be included in that. Now, this actually requires this Cypher 2 engine. So if you don't have Cypher 2, I don't believe this sound pack will work. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that. Anyway, let's just quick read on this. So create an instant floor filler with EDM Attack, an awe-inspiring arsenal of pulsing basses, searing leads, uplifting pads, and anthemic polysynths containing 20, this is the important part, 20 MPE and 20 standard MIDI presets, which are compatible with expressive and standard controllers. That's good to know. So whether you want to bring down the house, get caught in a trance, or strut to a techno beat, this sound pack has all you need to rave the night away. That is exciting indeed. EDM Attack. I've been a big fan of what Roli has done since my introduction to the Roli hardware, not necessarily the C-board, but when I was introduced to Lumi, which I believe Roli purchased Lumi, or maybe it was one of their byproducts. Again, don't quote me on that, but their hardware is phenomenal, and especially their involvement with MPE. I love the fact that they are so involved with the MIDI polyphonic expression community, and they're heavily involved with their software being integrated with MPE, which for those of you who don't know what I'm even talking about right now, MPE is essentially the future of MIDI. I know we're going to go to MIDI 2.0, but MPE just allows for a lot more creative expression when you're making music, or when you're playing, especially when you're playing with keys. It allows for incredible expressive controls such as pressure sensitivity and pitch bending at the same time as, you know, just holding down a note. Like you can do a lot more than that. Essentially, original MIDI was only 8-bit, so it could only handle so many commands, but this is like you have a ridiculous amount of commands, like 26,000 at one time or some crazy number like that. So well done to Roli for just bringing the software goods that actually utilize this technology. I love to see that. And they're not the only company that does that, but they are one of the bigger supporters of MPE. I really want to see other companies come on board. I know recently Korg, they are now finally, I mean, it seems to be, you know, taking a while for a lot of these hardware companies come on board, but now are finally supporting Aftertouch in their keyboard beds, which is really cool. Now, I know that's not MPE, but even that alone, those small technology upgrades to hardware make a massive difference as we move into the future and utilize this cool technology to be creative. Anyway, that's what we're here for. We're here for me to just ramble on, of course, in the podcast. Let's move on to our next piece of news here. So this comes to us from RFX, Nexus expansion. Don't normally talk about expansions, but I thought this one was of notable interest because this genre I didn't know is potentially, I'm going to put it there. I might be wrong, but maybe I'm behind the times, but cyberpunk is a genre. And I know there was that cyberpunk game that came out last year and it had all this horrible press, being a buggy game, but we can see here that cyberpunk it's a genre which is being released as a sound pack here for the Nexus 3.5. I think they're up to Nexus 3.5 player. Fantastic little Rompler sampler. If you haven't checked that out before, definitely check it out. I mean, look, Nexus was 10 years ago, Nexus was the it and bit of software romplers, and even to this day it still has a following, but I wouldn't call it probably the biggest one these days. But they do release sound packs on a regular basis, and Cyberpunk is no exception. Let's have a quick listen. I'm not going to play it all, it is a 5-minute video here, but I just wanted to give you a flavor of this pack here because I thought this was really interesting. Cyberpunk is a genre. Let's have a listen. All right, we're going into another little demo here. These are all the sounds from the pack. All right, I think we get the idea there. I'm just going to turn that down. So it seems to me Cyberpunk has sort of got a dystopian sound about it. You know, it's I mean, it is Cyberpunk. You got the highly saturated drums. You've got the big wet sounding percussion and that sort of almost dubsteppy sounding bass. In fact, that first demo I was almost going to say, hey, this is just dubstep, but it has a bit more than just that dubstep sound, you know what I mean? It's a sort of darker dystopian futuristic sound, I guess, more or less. I don't know whether this is a genre that's taking off. I think this sound pack is pretty interesting. I do like synthwave. They have down here recommendations. Customers who purchased this one also got like synthwave and techno and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's a style to check out. Cyberpunk, a new expansion. If you have the Nexus player, this could be of interest for you. If you don't, then probably not. All right, let's move on to our next piece of news here. And this is a cute little piece, actually. This is not even a software or a hardware thing that I'm talking about, although it is software, I guess, in the background here. But the story itself, a cute story. Let me read it here for you. So Goyte's massive hit, somebody that I used to know. Actually, I didn't know this, and this is why I thought it was really interesting. Incorporated IK Multimedia's Sampletron. One of the sounds was used in verse 2, or the verse that has the artist Kimbra singing over it, which is really cool. I'm just going to read this back for you here. So winner of 3 Grammys, including record of the 2013 plus #1 in the Billboard charts. Goyte's massive single, Somebody That I Used to Know, was a global phenomenon and over 1.7 billion views on YouTube. That's massive to this day. And naturally, Wally DeBucker, Goyte's real name, is an IK fan. This is really cool. So IK Multimedia, pretty up there in terms of music technology in the world. It would be in like maybe the top 5 companies in the world. IK Multimedia, Italian based, starting to make some very good hardware actually. When I say starting, probably I mean more in the synthesizer community, because I've got their speakers. The speakers are unreal. I've had them for a couple of years. So they have been making quality hardware for a long time, but now they seem to have put their big daddy pants on. They've grown up as a company as they explore into the hardware synthesis arena, and they're making quality. I cannot wait to get my hands on the Unasynth Pro and show you guys, because you're gonna absolutely freaking love it. Anyway, I digress, of course. So IK Multimedia, also renowned for their software, and Sampletron being the software I've mentioned in this little story here. So Goyte tells us he began recording his 3rd album, Making Mirrors, in March 2011 in his own studio in Melbourne, Australia. Represent, boom, Melbourne, Australia. Somebody That I Used to Know was the 3rd track on the album and was released as a single in July 2011. So this is a quote from Wally DeBucker, Goyte. I used Sampletron in Somebody That I Used to Know for the flute part in Kimbra's verse and also in the choruses. It was the Mellotron flutes, and there may have been some Chamberlains too. All right, there we go. That's pretty cool. So I've got the sample here. Let's see if you can hear it. It's not exactly obvious. Just have a listen in the background. I did hear it when I played this demo back before. So I'm going to play a little part of Goyte as somebody that I used to know. And actually, no, we're not going to play that because I realized that I'm going to get a copyright strike on YouTube. So we're not going to play that. Anyway, next time you listen to Goyte as somebody that I used to know, make sure you check out the part. See if you can hear it in the background. If you own Sampletron or you're an IK Multimedia software user, you will really love this. And Sampletron is a fantastic piece of software. It makes really good emulation of that particular piece of hardware. Now, there was one other amazing piece of news that we have been mentioning on the podcast for the last 2 weeks in a row, and that is the fact that IK Multimedia, who are celebrating their 25th anniversary as a company, are celebrating by doing a group buy, a massive group buy though. They have done group buys in the past. This one's huge, and you can essentially, once they get to the top tier, it'll be you purchase one piece of software and you get 24 pieces of software for free. And it looks like it's climbing to that. Now, they just recently announced that they have extended the group buy to the end of September. So if you haven't joined, you still have time if you're listening to this podcast in September of 2021, of course. They are currently, and I know we spoke about this last week, I think they're up to tier 9. They're up to tier 11 now. So what that means is if you purchase one piece of software, it's already an incredible deal. You get 10 pieces of software for free. Now, I need to reiterate this every time. I get no kickback at all for mentioning these deals to you guys. This is just, in the world of music technology, this is a phenomenal freaking deal. And if you haven't caught on yet, you need to check it out because IK Multimedia makes some fantastic software, as you can see, used in Goyte's track here, somebody that I used to know. Okay, that's the spiel. Check it out. I've given you guys enough, I guess you could say, not warning, because it's not like a warning. It's not something that's dangerous, but I've given you enough notification. So I hope you utilize that deal. Very exciting indeed. All right, let's get to our major piece of news and our feature, well, I guess feature, at our last piece of news for the week. Not really a feature today because we don't have the software loaded, unfortunately, on the computer here, but we are going to play this back because this is massive. Reason 12 upgrade, boom, dropped. It dropped this week. And to what looks like very good feedback online and around the world, it is being praised. I'm going to give you my personal feedback on just the overall first or initial thoughts on this upgrade. I'm going to give you that. But before I do, let me play back. This is a very good, it does go for a few minutes. If you want to skip ahead, if you've already watched it, you can skip ahead. It goes for a couple of minutes. I'm going to play the whole thing back because it explains exactly what is new in Reason 12. And this is huge. So let's play it back for you guys, and we're going to discuss this after this video.
Reason 12 is out to bring the new to your music. A new look, a new sampling instrument, and a whole new way of dialing in your sound. The biggest update in Reason 12 is the new supercharged Combinator. The Combinator puts multiple rack devices into self-contained, massive-sounding presets which make up most of your favorite patches in Reason's sound bank and new Reason Plus sound packs every week. The new Combinator takes that same power and expands it to a highly customizable blank canvas for you to dream big. Use the Combinator's editor to design your own front panels, adding knobs, faders, control wheels, and buttons to build your own rack device interface powered by Reason's synths and effects inside. Easily map parameters inside the Combinator to controls on your layout, even controlling several devices at once with one simple control. Even if you don't plan to build your own combinators from scratch, or consider yourself more of a beat maker than a sound designer, you'll still be able to use all the new combinators that are heading your way. With over 100 new and 1,000 updated combinator patches in Reason 12, new Reason Plus sound packs coming every week, and the boundless creativity of the Reason community that's sure to amaze us all. Reason 12 also introduces Mimic Creative Sampler to the Reason Rack. play samples with advanced time stretch, correctly pitch and even harmonize vocals, or open the door to granular sound reimagination. Whether you're juggling samples using Mimic's slice mode or building custom sample collections and drum kits in slot mode, Mimic's onboard effects are custom designed to give your sounds the grit and the mojo you so often want in a sample. In Reason 12, your sound has never looked so good. The Reason rack has all new updated graphics with full high-definition devices in the rack. The classics like Subtractor, Red Drum, and Thor are finally seen as they were meant to be. All of Reason's devices come to life in a way you've never seen before, along with under-the-hood changes that tap into the latest power available in today's video cards. Reason scales automatically to a size that's ideal for your monitor. If you want to, you can manually zoom Reason up or down to get the most on the screen, or teach your grandma to make fire beats without her readers on. That choice is yours. Reason 12 doesn't just look new, it doesn't just sound new, and it doesn't just mean new ways of interacting with sounds. Reason 12 means new music from you.
All right. What do you guys think of that? Now, if you are a Reason user or you've been using Reason over the years, then I think it's a worthy upgrade. Now, I do want to just mention my first initial impressions on this was I was like, oh, there's only 4 things that they've done. Is this really worth the upgrade? But now that I've sort of watched that preview or overview, their introduction, I should say, a few times now, and I can see that the massive part of this upgrade is the combinator, which has been hugely overhauled, and the fact that it's customizable, is incredible, because what you're going to see is, you know, the Reason community are going to create some wonderful things, as it said in that video there. But this is huge. Obviously, there's the Mimic Creative Sampler. That didn't really... I mean, that looks exciting, don't get me wrong, but I'm an Ableton user, and, you know, Simpler and Sampler are fantastic on there already. I don't really feel like I need another sampler. However, I haven't played with this yet, and it could be the bee's knees in terms of sampling, so I'm very excited about playing with that. Now, I haven't actually used Reason 12 yet. I've literally just downloaded it as this podcast has been going, so I'm going to have plenty of videos over on Emlyn in the Mix on the YouTube channel. Please make sure to subscribe to that. Hit bell notifications when I do those videos so that you know when I've uploaded them. And I will be sharing those, obviously, on the podcast as well, the overviews of what I believe, how I feel, what I believe, and how I feel about, you know, these new instruments, the improvements with Combinator and the Creative Sampler Mimic. The other improvements, I was like, meh, whatever. But after watching that video again, I could see the benefits of, you know, having a better resolution, especially in this day with people using 4K monitors, such as, you know, myself and plenty of other producers using high quality monitors. And also for those of you who are doing tutorials or YouTube videos on Reason, it's going to be great to have that higher clarity when you do zoom ins and that sort of thing for your videos. So that's cool. It's not really... Yeah, I mean, I guess it's interacting with your music more. It's not really on the creative side as such, but I think the best part about that, where they've done the improvements under the hood, is going to be speed. Now, if things are fast to find and fast to get instruments fast, Reason's always been pretty fluid and quick, but if things are going to be quicker, they're going to be faster and easier, that's what's going to be impressive. That's what's going to make Reason 12 upgrade worthy. So as the next couple of weeks go, I'm going to give you my full overview of Reason 12, what I think about it, and whether you should upgrade, whether it's worth it. I'm doing the hard work for you. I'm putting the money down for you guys so you don't have to. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other videos online, but please definitely check out the Emlyn and the Mix videos and podcasts as well, as I give you my overview before you purchase that. Or if you're already sold on it, go out and get it, because I know for myself personally, Reason, or Propellerheads as they used to be known, now Reason Studios AB, I used their software. That was my first piece of software that I used to make music. So I have a bit of a nostalgic connection with Reason Studios, and many of you younger producers probably do not have that. So you may not feel the need to want to get Reason 12, why would you want to get it when maybe you're using Ableton Live or you're using FL Studio, for example? There may be no reason to actually go out and get Reason. However, let's just go over some of the key pieces here, and I've already just covered them. Let's just go over a little bit more detail from the website here. So a new look, a new sampler, and a whole new way of dialing in your sound. Reason 12 is all about leveling up the creative potential at the heart of your music making experience. So make music your way. Plugged in or standalone, Reason's rack of legendary synths, instruments, and effects can now be used in your favorite DAW with the Reason Rack plugin. VST3 AUAAX. Now that's cool, because if you don't want to use the Reason DAW, just use it in Ableton Live. So Reason 12 includes both the plugin version and the standalone Reason music production software, so you can make music the way you like. This is cool because that means you could essentially, like for example me, I primarily use Ableton Live now. I can use the brand new combinator inside Ableton Live. That's freaking cool. I'm excited about that. So here are the brand new things in Reason 12. So you get an updated combinator, custom panel size, background colors, background and controls. So they've done some cool things to combinator, but that's not the only thing. Under the hood is what's going to matter. Being able to stack up those Reason instruments, that's going to be the exciting part of this. Mimic creative sampler, quick and immediate triggering, chopping and manipulation of audio. Well, we'll see about that. Higher resolution graphics, hyper-realistic devices, zoomable windows for improved workflow, faster browser with a new faster browsing experience. You can easily find all your devices, samples and patches and stay in a creative flow. I like that. That's the thing I like. So Reason 12 requires Windows 10 64-bit or macOS 10.13 or later 64-bit. So there you go, guys. That is the big news for this week. Reason 12 is now announced, and it's actually wanted to mention something is that when I started this podcast, I believe the first episode, you can go back to episode 1 for this podcast, is me talking about Reason 11 being announced. So here we are. That just goes to show how long this podcast has been going for, although not that long, but here we are talking about Reason 12. I cannot believe it. Episode 34 on season 2 here of Emlyn in the Mix. We're actually, if you don't count the seasons, this is the 84th episode of this podcast. I really hope you guys have been enjoying it. I love doing this podcast for you guys. I know I say this every week, but please leave a review on the podcast. I read them all. They separate them on iTunes via country, but I read them all, whether you're from Africa, you're from Brazil, you're from the United States, you're from London, wherever you are from, I will read your reviews, and I love getting your feedback. Also, if you want to reach out, contact Emlyn that's me, by the way, Emlyn in the mix at gmail.com. You can reach out there if you want to get your perhaps you're a developer, you want to get your software reviewed, or you're a hardware developer, you want to get your hardware reviewed. We'll check it out, audio, music, technology, or you're just a listener and you want me to check something out. I love getting your feedback and ideas on what you want me to check out next. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Have an awesome creative week, whether you're in lockdown or not. I know we're in lockdown, but you got to stay creative, guys. You got to just keep your goals as a creative artist and musician alive by, even if you're just creating, don't listen to the negativity, don't watch the media, don't do the things that are gonna make you not want to make music. That's what I'm here for, guys. I want to just keep your, I guess, inspiration going. And, actually I do want to just say, and I'm rambling now, but I do work for a massive radio show here in Melbourne, Australia. And yesterday we had an artist who you may have heard of before, a little bit old school now, probably bigger in the 90s and 80s, married to Heidi Klum. I believe he's a TV star now. I don't know. I don't really follow him, but his name is Seal, of course. And he was quite negative about the music industry and saying how, music's basically, it's a different thing now. You make music as a business card. And in some ways he's right, but I don't want those people who say that is sort of like, they're discouraging only because they're failing right now in the music industry. There are many different ways that you can make money still in the music world. And I'll give you a quick example is that I write music on a daily basis. And I might not have a number one hit pop song or a hit dance track or whatever, right? But I still get my music into commercials and podcasts quite easily, actually. And if you have the connections, you have friends maybe doing podcasts, you can do that. Or you can just reach out and, tell your local, Farmer Joe who's making a radio ad next week that you make tracks and you want to get it in their TV commercial. And look, I make some money from that. I actually make not heaps, but I make a little bit of money from getting my music in advertisements as well. So there are different avenues, different ways for you to make money via music. But I think if you're staying creative and you're getting out there and really, pushing yourself to the limits, you're going to be successful. So don't give up the dream of, doing it and getting your music right. Wow, we went on a massive tangent. I'm actually going to go now. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Till next time, you know what to do. Peace out. Boom.